Welcome to another Turn 'em Sideways channel video. We are going to be doing the set review of Spiritforged, and I've got Prismaticism here to walk me through everything. Pris, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going quite good. Recently came back from some events and then diving into set 2 now. Looking forward to Bologna and Vegas.
Up next in the review is Mind. We've got the very first card for the Mind domain is going to be the Aspiring Engineer. When you play me, return a gear from your trash to your hand. Pris, I hate 3-drops. And this has a power cost on it too. You'd have to have a real specific gear that you want to save for me to ever play this card. I'm going to put it as a 1.
Yeah, I'll put it as a 1 as well. It's I think Cemetery Attendant is the card that does it for units, and then this does it for gear. It's a lot harder to get gear into the trash as well, so be like a sideboard card for your opponent's sideboard card for your combo deck, which I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe one day you really need that, but I don't know. All right, up next is Bubblebot, 3 energy, 3 might. When you play me, ready another friendly mech. This is just first mate, but only for mechs. Rumble synergy piece. It's maybe reasonable because first mate is a reasonable card, right? So I would consider that this is maybe not that bad if you're trying to hit a certain threshold of the amount of mechs that you have in your deck. I do think this hits the threshold of like a 3-drop that's not terrible because like going second, it is a turn 1 play in case you miss. And then any other game, it is like you're playing this as a spell basically to ready something with a body attached. Just like I thought First Mate was pretty good. I'll just give this... Well, First Mate I thought was pretty good, but it's been cuddled. I'll give this a 3. This card is like a role player. It's fine. Pretty reasonable. But it's only going to be played in a mech synergy deck, right? Like it can't be played anywhere else.
I think I'll give it a 4. I like First Mate a lot. And then if your deck is entirely mechs, this is literally First Mate.
Yep.
And yeah, with the extra mech synergy, it's going to be better than First Mate.
That's a really good point. Yeah. So for Rumble, this is even just better than First Mate because it'll get Assault from your Hothead. It'll get Shield when it's defending. So it's actually quite a bit better than First Mate. Okay. Yeah, I like it. All right. Going up next, we have Chemtech Cask. When you play a spell on an opponent's turn, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token. It doesn't draw a card and it costs 1. So I'm a little, but gold is really good. Gold is very, very strong. I'm middling on this card. I think I don't want to draw more than 1 ever. And if I do draw it, I want to draw it early in the game. It has some of that like arena bar problem, but I think arena bar is more okay if you draw it later in the decks that really want it. I'll give it a 2. I don't love this card.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 as well. It's a lot like Orb of Regret, where it has this incremental value, but a very small amount per turn, and then it's also more unreliable, but it does stack gear for you if you really want that for whatever reason. Yep. Terrible draw later on.
All right. Next, we've got Cloth Armor. This has Quick Draw at a 1 cost, and it gives Shield 2. In general, holding in this game is really hard, and I think that just Shield 2 is not something I'm excited about. I think I probably would never play this card personally. This is a 1 for me. Not big on Cloth Armor. Quick Draw does improve it a little bit, but still a 1.
Excuse me. I'd give it a 2 stars. It is a pretty efficient trick. It's like On Guard when you're defending, but it is competing with Stupefy in the same color. It draws a card, and the equip cost is very expensive for dedicating it towards only holding, no immediate value after it's in play.
Yeah, I have to evaluate this card as a trick that is 1 energy, Shield 2, because I'm never going to equip this. I never want to play a power to put this on a unit. But yeah. Up next, we've got Forecaster, more of the mech synergies. Your mechs have Vision, which is okay. Vision is not bad, like being able to cycle the top of your deck, try and find the pieces that you really need for the particular game. Help you find your Pharaoh's Forerunners to make sure that you can play those on time. And it's a 2-drop. So specifically for mech synergy, for Rumble, this has Shield 1, which is, basically making it a Poro that also gives everything Vision. I'll give it a 3. The mech synergy stuff, it's hard to say, like, how much better it gets. Rumble does kind of make all these cards a lot better. Like this becomes kind of a 4, I guess, maybe. Yeah, I'll give it a 4 for Rumble. No other deck wants to play it though.
Yeah, I was thinking between 3 and 4. I guess I'll give it a 4. It's going to give you at least 2 vision triggers per time that you play it, which is quite strong. But specifically in a tribal deck like Rumble, you're going to be seeing a lot of the same card a lot of the time, so the vision trigger is not quite as valuable as it would be in other decks.
Yeah. It's actually really fun. The more we talk about these mech cards, Pris, I'm like, is Rumble actually kind of good? Because like each of these cards, they're actually like normally on rate statted, and then Rumble just makes everything above rate. So it's, yeah, the mechs are a little more on rate than I was expecting them to be. Frigid Touch, reaction speed and repeat 2, give a unit -2 this turn. But this is an Ezreal card, right, with the repeat. I think this card has been really impressive. In any deck that's not Ezreal, I don't know if it's super playable, but maybe Teemo that's playing purple Ezreal in it as well, which reduces that repeat additional costs. I'll give it a 4. I think this card's really good, and it doesn't have the minimum clause.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 5 even. Specifically in Ezreal, it triggers the Ezreal to give you a draw just by the repeat cost. So you're spending 3 mana for -4 draw card, which is effectively Void Seeker, and you're not paying a power cost. And then without the minimum, it does mean that your 1 might units, or even just like what would have been an even trade, suddenly starts winning combat, which is very strong.
Makes sense. All right, up next, we've got Frostcoat Cub. Another 3-drop. You may pay a power as an additional cost. When you play me, if you pay the additional cost, give a unit -2 this turn. Yeah, 3-drops are hard for me. Not a big fan of it. The additional cost being reduced by Ezreal is kind of cool, and the no minimum on the -2 is also kind of cool. But, you know, I'd rather play a bunch of Frigid Touches and then fizz a Frigid Touch out and use the power cost to just fizz a Frigid Touch out. And so I'll just give this... I'll give it a 2. I really don't like 3-drops. I'm really, really against them. They have to be really good for me to want to play it. So.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 as well. The fact that it doesn't do anything without the power cost is sad. It would be nice if it gave -1 and then you pay an additional cost to get -2 or even -3. Maybe that would be a bit too strong, but...
Yeah, I would play that card, I think. Yeah, I think I might play that card. Gearhead. This is an accelerate. 5 energy for 3 might accelerate. Each equipment attached to me gives double its might bonus. I don't think the might is like high enough on gear right now for this to be incredibly exciting. I will say like attaching a Sterex to this guy and giving +6 is impressive at least. But on average, there's not a ton that's going to be crazy. I think Sterex is the one card that makes this interesting. So maybe this is like an Ornn card. Maybe there's some kind of Ornn deck that can like this. But I'm kind of low on Gearhead for now, and I'd love to see if someone can show me a really good way for this card to be great. I'm going to give him a 2.
I think I'll give him a 3. Having Accelerate means that it's never bad. Accelerate is just such a good keyword. I do want to point out that it's a base might bonus. So if you were to equip, say, a Cloth Armor, which gives Shield 2, that would not get doubled. It's only the number in the bottom right on the gear that gets doubled. So it makes it a lot less strong than it might seem at first.
All right. Up next is Plundering Poro 5. 5. Yeah. I don't even need to. This card is broken. It's not broken, but it is a. This is exactly what you want out of a 2-drop. This is a 5 for me. I love this card.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5 as well. I mean, I guess when I first saw it, it was like a 6 or a 7. It got down to a 5.
Yeah.
There is a limit to how good a 2-drop can be, especially one that needs to then conquer. That is a condition, even if it's a pretty easy condition to fulfill, and it's so strong in the early game. But it is, as a draw later on in the game, it's not going to replace itself, and that gold you get out of him is only going to show up 2 turns after you play him, which is very slow.
I'm so with you. It was a 6 or a 7, and it has come down to being only a 5. Like, if I build a blue deck, I mean, Plundering Poro is probably just in it. Like, we don't have enough other cards that are better than Plundering Poro for him to not just make the cut. All right. Wages of Pain. I've been more impressed with this card than I expected to be. Just having like 3 damage removal in the colors that have all the like -1s. So like you can combine it with Frigid Touch or Stupefy or Watcher or whatever. And then also just the fact that you can hide it to deal 3 damage, the flexibility is kind of cool. And it gives you a gear. So it gives you this like power cost refund if you've hit it. And if you didn't hide it, then you get this extra power cost. It's not like an insane card, but this is a card that maybe I would have looked at and put very low, and I'm going to give it like a 3 bordering a 4, but I'll give it a 3. I don't think it's quite as good as some of the other 4s, but it's a card I like a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a very good 3. It's never a crazy card, and hiding it's quite risky. Again, if your unit gets pushed off the battlefield in whatever way, then it's just gone. Like unless you want to shoot your own unit just to get the gold hero token out of it, which kind of a refund on what you paid to hide it. But action speed removal is very strong.
All right. Next up is Breakneck Mech. Your mechs have deflect and ganking. I enter ready if you control another mech. It's wild because this cost is so high, but we mentioned with like high cost cards, they need to do something when they're played. And this does something when it's played, especially because Rumble wants to be a hold deck. So ganking is actually really beneficial, where if you have units holding currently, you play this, it enters ready, and your mech is now able to gank over. The fact that entering ready is conditional to another mech is, a slight downside, but odds are if you're playing this full tribal, you probably have one mech in play at this point in the game. If you don't, you've probably lost anyway. So I would say that this card is quite good. But 8 and 2 power is pretty high. I'm gonna give it a 4 though. These mechs are definitely like, they're better than I expected, I think. And deflect on everything is annoying for some decks, but for some decks it won't matter.
I'll give it a 3 just because Thousand-Tailed Watcher exists. It's the same cost as an Accelerated Watcher, and it's very rare that an Accelerated Watcher doesn't deal with whatever problem you're having. It does have this extra text while it's in play. Maybe it's a one of and you play 2 Watchers, something like that. And the effect is really strong, but you probably want to keep it in base because deflect, you want to keep your units alive for them to then get the deflect value, and it's too big to keep in your base.
All right, up next is Dropboarder. When you play me, if you control 2 or more gear, ready me. 4, no power cost for 4. This is a 5 for me. I actually just think any deck that is playing either, like, if you're Renata and you're generating gold, you probably want to play this. And if you're any other deck that plays multiple gear, you probably just want to play this card. Because even if you don't have the ability active, it's like a turn 2 4 for 4 is not the worst thing you can be doing. And then if the ability is active, it is just like a very efficient accelerate.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5 as well. Blue doesn't have too much low-cost accelerate. I mean, sprites. And this is a sprite that with 4 might and then stays in play afterwards. It's really easy to fulfill this condition. Even as early as turn 2 when you go second, you can fulfill it.
All right, up next, Experimental Hex Plate. This is a gear that says, I am a mech. I'm not even convinced that Rumble wants this, which is really funny. Because like you can make any unit a mech, so it gets the Rumble like mech synergy stuff. But do I want to spend like my turn playing out this like kind of shoddy 1 energy gear when I could just kind of do anything else? I'm not convinced. Someone must convince me that this card is good. I'm giving it a 1, and someone can convince me that it's actually good. I don't think it's good.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1 as well. If you're not playing mech tribal, there's no point to this card, but if you are, then why aren't you playing the mechs? And even if there was some unit that was amazing, if it was a mech, you'd have to play this as 3 copies and 3 copies of that unit and then draw them together at the same time. Otherwise, they're both useless. And then, I don't know. It's not going to happen.
You mentioned Watcher. Do I care to put this on my... Like, I don't need this on my Watcher. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares about this? It's fine. Someone can try and convince me it's good if they really want to, but I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. Up next is Pickpocket. When you play me, you may kill a gear with energy cost no more than 1 if you do play a gold gear token. This is just like a gold thief. It just like kill a gold or a seal or something like that, and then some of the smaller equips also potentially, and then get a gear token. I think it's actually a pretty efficient unit and nice as a sideboard option in a specific meta. So this is a really conditional card in my eyes. Either there's like a bunch of Renata running around and you just kind of like the idea of reducing their gold while getting gold for yourself, and you're just playing a unit for that. Or I think the one that really would convince me that this card could be a good tech piece would be if Lucian is like a top tier deck based around playing a lot of like these like cheap gear and they turn out being good, like these serrated dirks are like causing a lot of issues, and this just like destroys it, makes a gold. That could convince me this card is good. For now, I'm going to put it as a 2. It is a very like niche specific tech piece, and even in those big like niche specific instances, it's not like insane. It's just pretty good, and you would probably play it in those spots.
I think I'll rate it as a 3. It's a strong enough effect, even if it is you're going to end up having to play him without effect a lot of the time. But hitting seals, hitting gold in the worst case scenario, or hitting other like 1-mana equipment is pretty real. It looks like it's going to happen pretty often. Like blue decks are all going to play Plundering Poro and make gold. Yellow decks are probably going to play the 2-drop that makes a gold when it dies, Honest Broker.
Yep.
So there's going to be most decks you're going to be able to have something to hit with this. I do think it's too weak of an effect to play as a sideboard card. You'd rather play some kind of gear hard removal. If there's something you actually want to deal with, this isn't going to make a big enough difference as a sideboard card. But if the meta is good enough for it, then you would just play it in main deck as a 3-drop.
Yep, that's fair. Hate 3s though. Hate 3s anyway. Prize of Progress, 4 energy, 1 power, 3 might. When you use an activated ability of a gear, give me +1 this turn. Yeah, it's a 1 for me. This card is so narrow. I don't know. Like, what are we doing that is this +1 is good enough to justify 4 energy and a power? Yeah, no, it's a 1. This card's bad.
Yeah, it's a 1 as well. I don't know. I mean, you're going to dump a ton of gold and make it big, but you could have just held onto them and had a blue Ornn be even bigger.
Yeah, it's technically a mech. I don't know. I don't think a mech wants this though. What are they even doing? Production Surge. This costs 2 less if you control a mech. Play a 3 might mech unit token to your base. Draw 1. So we just evaluate this as assuming you have a mech for the most part. I mean, yes, you can't play it if you don't have a mech. It's really bad. But you're going to play this in like Rumble where you always have mechs. And 2 energy, 1 power, draw a card, play a 3-drop is that's good enough to me. For me to give this like a 4. I think this is probably going in most Rumble decks.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well. The power cost for Rumble, it's going to slow him down, but card draw is very useful for him. It's like a fat Lecturing Yordle. There's also some thoughts of Mech Kai'Sa because she gets to pay the power cost, and this is even better for her. She really likes to have units that draw her cards and are that cheap.
Yep. Mech Kai'Sa play like the Rumble hotheads and the Forerunners and just like recur them as
and some of the 2-drops maybe. So you don't need to have too many to be able to at least set up this 2-card combo.
Yep. All right, I like it. Up next, Rocket Barrage. This is 4 energy, 1 power, has repeat, which is really expensive to repeat. But it's choose 1, deal 4 to a unit in base, or kill a gear. Really flexible main deck gear removal, especially for someone like Kai'Sa who doesn't have to pay this power cost. I think this card is actually very good. On the surface, like, it's not that efficient of removal. It's kind of expensive. But I think that as this game evolves and gear is like more in every deck or like everywhere or is very strong, this kind of effect is something you really need to have, is like flexible cards like this. So I'm actually going to give it a 5, even though power wise it's not like the same as a 5 would normally be. It's the flexibility that makes this so good.
I was going to give it a 3, but it is the only gear removal that blue has access to right now. Unconditional. It's extremely weak against Defy. Even if you pay the repeat cost, Defy only looks at the base cost of the card, so you could spend 8 energy and 2 power, and then get Defied and just cry. And the targeting a unit only in base, that's a very narrow effect. I think that's going to be kind of difficult to use as the backup plan if they don't have any gear that's worth killing. But it's okay.
Yeah, the just in base is a problem, but I think this repeat cost is probably never getting paid. All right. Up next is Temporal Portal. Pay a power, tap this, give the next spell you play this turn repeat equal to its cost. This feels like the type of card that could break. Currently, when I was like looking through trying to figure out like what spells I'd want to even duplicate, there's like, you know, this small stuff that you can play, like Stupefy is like, you know, -2, draw 2. It's actually pretty efficient with like 2 and a power. But this can only be played on your turn. It doesn't have reaction. It's like you have to do this on your turn to actually make this happen. And I couldn't find a spell that I felt like this actually made broken yet. This is another card that maybe in the future has some application that's really disgusting. For now, I think I'll just give it a 2. It's a bit slow, and the fact that it's only on your turn does make it worse.
I'll also give it a 2. I think right now none of the combos are too impressive with it. It's mostly going to just give you extra card draw. But in the future, if they make more spells similar to Sabotage that you could copy, then this gets a lot stronger. And the issue is only being able to activate it on your own turn means that you're incentivized to be aggressive with whatever spell you play, as long as it affects the board state. But then because this is a gear that you want to activate several times, you want a longer game to actually get enough value out of it to be worthwhile. So So it's conflicting goals there.
Right. Up next is Brad. It's Bard. Mercurial, 4 energy, 1 power. You may exhaust your legend as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you paid the additional cost, move any number of your units to an open battlefield. This is multiplayer tier for me. It is probably fun in 4-player. I don't think this is a card worth playing in normal Riftbound, so I will give it a 1.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1 as well. I don't know, purple MF was bad, and this is somehow even worse, so...
Yep. Next is Bellows Breath. This card is actually pretty great. It is deal 1 to up to 3 units at the same location, and it has repeat. It is at action speed. This is a sweeper in blue for tokens, which was something they desperately needed, because their removal just could not deal with tokens. It was all just kind of like this single target stuff, or like big removal. So token sweeper is really good. I will say it synergizes with some interesting combos. We recently saw a Victor deck win a city challenge, synergizing with Imperial Decree, where it just like sweeps everything. But also just it targets for Ezreal, which is also cool. I'm gonna give this card a 4. I think it's not like so insane because only 1 damage does have some issues, and you need kind of combos to make it really good. But it's a 4. It's a strong removal spell.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 as well. Kaisa would like this card if Piercing Light wasn't also in the same set. Probably just a weaker effect than Piercing Light. Number of units it can kill. But yeah, a lot of combos. And it also, you can target your own unit to trigger Dreaming Tree as well, which is kind of neat. Showdown.
Kind of nice. Up next is Card Sharp. When you play me, you and each opponent may play a gold gear token exhausted. For each opponent who did, you play a gold gear token exhausted. This is it is a 5 in multiplayer, and then in normal Riftbound it is probably like a 3. It's very playable to just, if your deck really needs the gold, and you think that you can use the gold better than your opponent, it is a fine 3-drop and a strong enough effect that I would play it, but it's not crazy.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 as well. I don't know why the card is weird. It's weirded kind of strangely. For you and each opponent may play a gold gear token. She should just give you the gold gear token and then make all the opponents choose.
Yeah.
Why would you ever choose not to take it? It's a bit odd. We'll point out one thing where the opponent's going to get to use the gold token on their next turn immediately. So it does make the gold that they take better than the gold they give you, which means that unless they're really worried about you stacking a lot of gold, they are going to take it, and it is going to give them more value.
All right. Up next is Ezreal Dashing. When I attack or defend, deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit here. I don't deal combat damage, and then it has an action where you can spend a power to move me to your base. So you can kind of just like fire and then shoot back and then jump back. He gets to, it's basically like first strike. Like he just gets to deal his damage first, which is good. He's very expensive, and purple Ezreal exists, which is like the more handsome older brother for the Ezreal deck. I'm not super sold on this because the cost is really expensive, but I do think the effect is good, and there's probably a way to like abuse this card to make it significantly better, because you can augment might, you can equip something to make this a lot scarier. So I'll give it a 3, and I think it has some like ways to probably improve.
I'll give him a 3 as well. Just by himself, if you aren't making him any bigger, he's going to be quite weak, but if you stack him up, if you make him into, say, an 8 plus might unit, suddenly a lot of decks can't deal with that. Unfortunately, his ability is action speed, and he doesn't have deflect or any other way to protect himself, so he's going to be very vulnerable to spells, no matter what. So it's going to be difficult to build entirely around him and say, oh, I have a 10 might Ezreal, and then, oh, he died. Now what?
Yep. All right. Up next is Hextech Anomaly. This is a reaction speed. Pay any amount of power to add that much energy. It is a 3 energy, 1 power cost here to play. This is a combo deck dream, right? This is like, I just sack all my runes to pull off my combo. I have not found the combo where this is crazy yet, but I imagine Time Warp is involved in the current game, and then in the future there's some really crazy stuff with it. I am not smart enough to have figured it out yet, but this card is a 4. Maybe a 5 even. It is
purely based on potential.
But it's based on potential. I think this card has some really crazy applications for it, and just the amount of energy you can create on a turn to pull off some big combos.
Yeah, based off of potential, I'll give it a 4. There is a hard limit in this game to how quickly you can achieve a win condition. Like, unlike other games, if you just turn all of your lands or other resource sources into more resources, then you can just win the game on the same turn. Whereas with this, it's hard to say. Like, if you time warp, you'd have to time warp, and then what do you do next turn if you have no runes left over after that? But definitely in the future, it will be able to do some broken things.
Yeah, it's another spec pick, you know, like this card might actually just be so negative tempo in a game that's like pretty fast that it's just bad, but definitely some ideas. All right, Jayce, Man of Progress. When you play me, you may kill a friendly gear. If you do, you may play a gear with energy cost no more than 7 from hand, ignoring its energy cost. I really like Jayce. I think right now there's only one combo that's super exciting, and that's the Armory, the 7 cost, make 3 recruits. And I think that's what everyone saw when they first saw Jayce. I think even with just that combo existing, as long as you have maybe something else that he can do with this ability, or even the fact that he just comes in as a decent turn 2 play, even when he doesn't have this effect, is just kind of a 4, which is it's respectable enough. Considering his strength now and then in the future, I'm teetering between 4 and a 5. I'll give him a 4. I think he's good.
I'll give him a 4 as well. He's basically restricted to the blue-yellow decks for the, I think Vanguard Armory is the card name.
Yep.
There are a lot of ways that you can set it up to play him on turn 2 and get it out, even when you go first off of a Plundering Poro, which is really strong if you pull that off. That's like a game-winning combo, and that is going to happen a bit higher than 20% of the time, I think is the math. But if you don't, at least he's just a random 4-mite unit. It's okay. So you're not going to have complete bricks in your hand if you fail the combo.
Yep. And even if you don't get it on turn 2, like pulling off that combo on turn 3 or turn 4 is not even like horrible. Like, it's still kind of doable. It is diminishing returns every turn, right? It's worse every single turn. But it's like, yeah, having it in your deck feels really solid for these blue-yellow decks. All right, Ornn Forge God, deflect 2, Weapon Master, and I have +1 for each friendly gear. This is the Ornn that everyone is thinking is really insane for the champ zone. Kind of these all-in Ornn builds, even sometimes with the Spellsonger to make it deflect 4 with all the doubles on the +1s from the gear. I think he's really strong. I think some people are probably like maybe too high on Ornn, maybe saying this guy's like a 5. I'm gonna say he's a 4 though. He's very good.
I think I'll give him a 5. He does need a specific deck built around him to protect him. But then with the Spellsonger combo, and then with his deflect cost, if your opponent's only answer to him is targeting him with spells, they're only going to be able to do that once or maybe twice before they're just completely out of runes. Which means that if you can get him big enough, opponents can't win the game. It's like a Dr. Mundo sort of a unit.
Yeah. That's fair. You have to deal with him in unit combat, yeah. Which is not possible for every deck. World Atlas, when I hold, play 2 gold gear tokens exhausted. Get +2. It feels slow. Hold effects, I think you and I are in pretty big agreement in how we feel about hold effects in general. It's hard to hold in this game. I'm gonna give this like a 2. Probably don't want to play it. In fact, it might even be a 1 for me. I think I just don't want to. It's just like a very slow gear. I don't like it.
I think I'll give it a 2 specifically because it combos with Blue Ornn. If you can get him big enough and then set him up, then this will start snowballing to make sure that he stays big enough, even if the opponent keeps trying to develop units in their base. But outside of that, you're not going to play this and give it to your 2-drop on turn 2 and say, oh, I've got a 4-mite unit, this is going to hold. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, Blue Ornn's a cool call out, right? Because he'll Weapon Master it when he gets onto the board, and then from there, like, every time he makes 2 gold, that's just 2-mite. Yeah, that is good. Premonition, reaction, draw 3, 2 energy, 3 power. You need a lot of gold for this to be good. What's interesting is, like, in Renata, you're probably playing blue Renata anyway, which you might be able to just use the gold to draw cards themselves, and you don't actually need, Premonition to do that. If there's seals are really popular, like blue seals are really popular in something like an Ornn, and you don't have enough card draw, maybe this is good. But it being in blue, there's already a lot of card draw in blue, and I think so sometimes this effect is like too narrow to actually be good. I really thought this card was going to be really insane, and I'm pretty low on it now. I'll give it a 2 because draw 3 is still a pretty nice effect at a cheap cost if you can find ways to cheat the power.
I'll also give it a 2. I think card draw in general in this game is a lot cheaper than in other games a lot of the time. Just in blue, you have Progress Day and Consult the Past, which are both going to be stronger than it on either end, either being cheaper or more expensive. So it's difficult to find a place for this card. I don't think you want to use your gold to turn into card draw either. Like Consult the Past, you could have tied with 1 gold rather than putting 3 gold into this for 3 cards. But drawing 3 cards, that is a lot. And on the last turn of the game, you don't care so much about your power costs.
Yep. Up next, we've got Renata Glass Mastermind. Gonna go at this one with the context of Renata. Basically, if you get her on a battlefield post 5 points, every gold is just a card, which is pretty strong. I mean, I think this unit is a really great contender for the Chosen Champion there. The second ability of scoring a point is probably often win more. It's really hard to set that up. You can try and set up like a move her onto the battlefield after playing her at base and then time warp and then do this to try and score and end the game. It's definitely possible. And then there's also the Heimerdinger combos with this where he doesn't have to be on a battlefield to use this, which are pretty neat. I'm going to give her a 4. I think the draw ability is actually something I've been really impressed with.
Give her a 4 as well. Maybe even a 5 specifically in the Renata deck. Turning every single gold that you've built up at that point in the game directly into cards is really strong. And it's pretty easy with Renata, playing a lot of the blue and yellow cards from set 2 to generate a decent amount of gold. And then you just get to refill, be an aggressive deck that has this guaranteed way to draw cards as long as you just put her directly on the battlefield.
Up next, we've got Rumble Scrapper. I think Hothead is like the better Champ Zone one because of the the combos with Pharaoh's Forerunner, the turn 2 play. But Rumble Scrapper, your mechs have +1, including me. When I hold, play a 3 mech unit to your base. So hold effects, but Rumble does give shield. He's kind of like this like pseudo Master Yi effect where he's giving these extra stats on defense. So maybe holding is not completely unreasonable. And this is a mech Anthem effect. So the question is do you have a lot of mechs on the board, or do you just have a few kind of big mechs on the board? I think often it's like fewer big mechs, but maybe you're getting a lot of tokens out of the Pharaoh's Forerunner. I think maybe some amount of copies of Scrapper make the Rumble deck, but it's probably not a full 3 because of this cost. So I'll give it a 3. I actually don't see this as being too insane.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 3 as well. The hold effect seems like a win more effect where if you're able to specifically have him sitting there, there's no mechs with tank, so your opponent is going to kill him first. He's an Anthem, and he's going to threaten to hold. But putting him down and swinging combat results slightly is always really strong. Just even the +1 makes a big difference. So it will be a big play to the main deck in Rumble.
Zero Drive, 3 energy, has an expensive equip, 1 energy, 1 power, 3 energy, 1 power. Banish this, play all units banished with this, ignoring their costs. Has the Death Knell banish me, and it is +2. So every time you equip this to something and then it dies, it gets banished. And then eventually you can banish the Zero Drive and bring everything back. Really cool combos with like Watcher or like some other, accelerate unit, I guess. This is like super expensive and kind of slow, but the hope would be that you construct a deck so that when you banish it, you win the game. Or like you create this board state that's like unwinnable for your opponent. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm kind of high on this card, but I don't think I've figured it out yet.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 3. It's close to a 4. It is really expensive, the higher equip cost than normal. And I think you have to banish accelerate units. Anything else, I don't think you're going to be able to set up a hold while banishing a Zero Drive. It's not going to work too well, especially because it's going to be smaller early units that you're banishing, so they're not going to be able to hold against something like a Watcher or some other big push anyway, late game.
Thanks so much, Pris, for joining us on this review. Prismat, where can the people find you if they want to learn more about your Riftbound journey?
They can find me on twitch.tv/Prismat. I stream mostly online tournaments, going to be doing some set 2 theory crafting in the future. And then they can also find me on metafy.gg/@prismaticism. I published a Teemo guide recently. Go check that out. And then I also offer coaching there.
That is actually it for Mind. If you agree with us, let us know in the comments. If you don't agree with us, keep it to yourself. No, let us know if you think that we're wrong about something or you have an idea on one of these cards that maybe we didn't go over. But thank you so much for watching this, and we will see you on the next one.